Hello everybody, good evening, welcome along to, albeit a pre-season friendly match reaction, but still, the match reactions are back. It is without a doubt our biggest show, so I'm delighted that it's back. Rangers 2, Club Brugge 2, what was your thoughts? Get it in the comments, let us know what you thought of the game. I am joined by Alex, Mark and Willie Irwin, so it's a full house today. Mark, how are you?
Yes, I'm good, mate. You?
Yeah. Well, if India get this last wicket, I'll be more than happy. But apart from that, I'm all right. Sir William of Urban, how are you?
I know long in for the game, so just try to get a wee drink of juice. And I talked my wife into putting my dinner on. I don't think she was too enamoured by me asking to put the dinner on, but you know.
Just to say what I say to my missus, it's your duty. And then watch you get a slap to the face.
See, I when they say that to you, because I've already had one, so I'm not saying it again.
And Alex, fresh off the watch along with myself, how are you?
Yeah, I'm good, mate. I'm bored of the cricket chat already, but I'm good, mate. Obviously, good to talk about the game, some positives from it, obviously some negatives as well, but as we get into it, we'll be able to talk all about it. But good to be back on the watch along and straight back onto the reaction pod.
Yeah, well, England 2-6-2 for 9 after 66 overs. The target is obviously 608. They're not going to get there because there's only about 28 or 27 overs left in the day's play, I think. Sorry, this isn't Martin's cricket podcast. Sorry, Wally, what was your? Do you know? We'll go into some of the booing at half time. We'll discuss that. We'll discuss the first half performance and the second half performance, etc., etc. But what was your overall opinion? What was your takeaway for the game today, Wally?
That it was a good workout for the players. That's probably as good an opposition as you'll play in the first game of pre-season, if I'm honest. You know, that's a seriously good Bruges team. I think we've seen that in the first half, the way they moved the ball, the amount of 1-2 touch, even just the sheer size of some of the players. I mean, I think it was Hans Vanaken, the captain in the middle of the pitch. He was majestic. I mean, I don't think he put a foot wrong in 45, and I don't actually know if he broke sweat, to be honest, in that first 45. The level of player they have is very, very high. You can see why they've sold, I think, 2 players this summer already for €25 million each or whatever. So, yeah, they are an excellent team. And it was a guy that was actually sitting a couple of rows wrong for us. He made a great point. He said, would you rather that Rangers played like a Bury today or a Carlisle and we'd won, 3 or 4-0? Whereas, that kind of game today will probably tell Russell Martin a lot. He'll know what was poor in the first half, what we did better in the second half. He'll know that obviously there's going to be changes to that team. We saw obviously 3 players come out at half time. Lyle Cameron, fellow Asgard, and obviously Rothwell. They all come out at half time, and those 3 guys are likely going to play ahead of some of the guys that started the game. So look, there's a lot to take from the game, positive, negative, but I think from our point of view, that was a really good test for the players, and I actually quite enjoyed the game, to be honest.
Well, yeah, I mean, I had all sorts of internet issues, as anybody who watched the watch along will know, so I effectively missed the full first half, as poor Alex had to watch it all on his own. But a wee bit of news, I suppose it's news, Mark. But as soon as we get the manager's RTV interview, we will play it. But he has done his presser, Mark, and he has said, I think the squad will look different next week. We are looking at new players, but also need to move a few on. This is the interesting bit. Dessers had a knock. We turned down a bid for him that was miles off our valuation, and he's back with us today. Hamza was red tape to do with his visa. Both will be back in training next week. So there we go. A wee bit of clarification, Mark.
Yeah, I didn't know that. I thought so. Dessers has been. We think Dessers is going to just come back into the fold. There's no other interest, and then obviously Egerman's probably away. Then if he gets his visas and that sorted, he's gone pretty much. Sounds like.
It might be the fact he can't get back into the country, though. It might be more to do with him getting back into Scotland potentially, maybe the red tape rather than the sale. I mean, he didn't really seem to explain that well, did he? The manager, it might be one or two things potentially.
Well, it was just a quick thing I took off of Heart and Hands post
Right.
on Twitter. But I tell you what we'll do before we carry on. Then let's hear from the manager, shall we, Alex? Just you keep quiet up there. Nobody's talking to you. Let's hear from Russell Martin.
Russell, for a test so early into pre-season, how do you find that one?
Good, very good opposition. Will really help prepare us and get better. We'll learn a lot from today. It was nice to walk out Ibrox for the first time with the team. Got a great reception, which I'm incredibly grateful for. When I walked out for the warm-up, and I wasn't expecting, so that was great. The first half started okay, and then conceded a goal. And then what was really interesting, and we learned a lot, is that then the habits that we're trying to instill, they changed a little bit, and the team didn't look quite how we wanted it to, and they managed to gain a bit of momentum again. So the guys recovered that a little bit. So, but we just need to be, and they're under such heavy load, so they're fatigued, they're tired. Been a massive 2 weeks, mentally and physically, because they're taking on so much detail. So there's a bit of overthinking in that first half period, and we weren't quite all in. We're sort of in between a little bit, and we have to be all in at this football club. It's that simple, with the way we want to play, with the way we're going to run. So I asked for that at half time. In the second half, I was really impressed with the guys. Like the energy, the aggression ramped up a notch. We weren't aggressive enough in the first half, with and without the ball. And I will give the guys the benefit of the doubt. I think that's down because they're tired, and we had a few guys playing that have only been back a few days. But second half, I really enjoyed the energy of the team, and just how front-footed we were. I thought we were good.
Yeah, what specifically did you like about your side today?
I like the fact they're trying things, and there's a lot to work and a lot to improve. We'll learn so much from today, and today will definitely make us better. But I liked some of the performances, the willingness to run and work, to take the ball, to try and make things happen. And then some of the young guys did really great, so I'm really happy for them. Josh Gentles was great when he came on. Finley Curtis did great, took his goal so well. But yeah, the energy of Dio and Nadeem in particular in the second half, I really enjoyed, and it helped the team a lot.
Yeah, this early stage in pre-season, you must be just pleased with the energy and endeavour in that second half to get yourself back in the game.
Well, firstly, I'm pleased that we got through it unscathed, relatively unscathed, and with no injuries. And also, they're just trying things. They are trying so hard to do what we're asking them to do, and at the minute they have to overthink that. And soon it will become second nature, and it will become habit and good habits that are all right for us all the time for the team we want to be. And I said to them, it will become, when they're in flow, it will become like breathing and walking to them. But at the minute, they still have to think about things. But they're willing to try it, and they're willing to do it, and they're trying, and that's all you can ask.
Good to get Max and Manny some minutes as well.
Yeah, I thought they were both great. I think Max showed why we were so keen to bring him here. And I thought Manny had a real physicality and strength and aggression and composure to the team. So going to be two really important players for us.
In terms of the next 7 days, obviously the training camp down at St George's, how important is that going to be in your sort of pre-season preparations?
Well, it helped for synergy, for energy, togetherness, for work on the training pitch to improve from today. From where they were 2 weeks ago, the guys, what we're asking them to do, I've been really impressed. But we have another couple of weeks to really be ready for such an important game. So the work on the training pitch, in the meeting room, when we're all socialising together in the meal times and in the evenings, it's going to be really important. I'm looking forward to it.
Oh, there we go. The manager's first post-match presser, Alex. One thing I took for what he said there was that he wasn't expecting a good reception, which tells me that Martin's obviously heard a lot of the noise around about him, Alex.
I mean, when you look at last season, I don't think many of the managers got a good reception at Ibrox. There was a lot of booing. There was obviously, we'll speak about the half time, but there was a lot of booing, and a lot of people were quick to jump on if it didn't go away quickly, that they weren't happy and they let their voice be heard. That obviously happened at the end of the first half, but there was a bit more energy and a bit more to take from it in the second half. But listen, he's not going to be naive to the fact that if things don't start going his way at Ibrox, that the fans will quickly let him know that they're not happy. They'll let their voices be heard, and that's always going to be something that happens at this club. He just has to be able to manage that situation and show that, one, he's the right man for the job, and two, we've seen in that second half, he can get a tune out of these players We just need to show that this was only the first pre-season game. This is the first chance that, as fans, we've got to see Russell Martin show what his team can do. But as you said, there's a lot of talk that players are going to be in and out. There's more players come in. We've still got, obviously, our first competitive game against Panathinaikos. I don't suspect a lot of these players are going to play in that game, but we need to trust that it's only his first game. We weren't expecting to go out there and absolutely run over the top of Club Brugge, but to come out with a 2 each, injury-free, and actually see some very good goals from Diamandi and Curtis, it's a lot to be hopeful for the season going forward.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if this is breaking news really or not, but another kind of statement for the manager in his post-match presser to the media was that Clinton Insiala will be allowed to leave the football club on loan. Russell Martin saying that he needs to get minutes and he needs to be playing at this stage of his career, which of course, I mean, it's stating the bloody obvious, but what he's basically saying is that he's not good enough to play for Rangers at the current time.
Yeah, look, again, this kind of goes back to some of the chat last season. We obviously seen a wee bit of Clinton, didn't we? We were watching some of the academy games. And the one thing Clinton is very raw, and that's the thing that, like, realistically, he's not going to get the time at Rangers, like, to develop into the player that he can become. So it makes a lot of sense if there's teams out there who want to take him on loan, where he can make mistakes and where he can learn and develop. And yeah, look, to me, that's a no-brainer, to be honest with you. Because you look at some of the names we've been linked with. We've obviously the guy they've been linked with at Wolves. We've obviously got Cody at Leicester. We've signed Fernandes. We've still got John Suter. Tav played at centre-half today, and I actually thought he did quite well. So there's a lot of centre-halves there who are going to start ahead of him. So let's get him out on loan. Let's boys for it. What's the worst that can happen? Is that he goes there and he either does really poorly or really well. If he does really well, we might get a fee for him. If he does really badly, he comes back and I think he's still got 2 years left in his contract. So like, from Rangers' point of view, they don't probably see any downside to it, if I'm totally honest.
But also, if he goes out, Mark, and he does really well, then he might be good enough next season to come back into the Rangers team as well.
Exactly. He might come back and he's picked up a game, depending on what level we loan him to. Or he might not be good enough when we sell him on for a bit of profit. So either way, it's like a win-win. But I think he definitely needs to go out on loan. I don't see him getting the game time that he needs with the guys that are rumoured to coming in and the guys that we've got there already. I think it's going to be hard for him unless there's injuries. Touchwood, obviously, we don't want that. Then I don't see him getting the required game time he needs at his age to push him on. So that's what I would think myself.
Yeah, and Kenny, just being Kenny, Mr. Douglas getting a wee job in the backroom staff with that side shed. How did you know my plans, Kenny? How did you know that that's what I was trying to do? I'd be a great fitness coach. No, don't eat them, I'll eat it. Don't eat them, I'll eat it. That would be my fitness. Guilty of overthinking, Alex, in the first half. Is that fair, or was there just slightly more quality on that Rangers team in the second?
I think there's just more quality in the second half, to be fair. Some of the boys that started, I mean, let's get it out of the way. King and Proper are probably a 5th and 6th choice centre-back, and they started. They didn't look comfortable at all when the ball was coming to them. Obviously, the first goal, they both parted like the Red Sea and just let the goal go in. They didn't track it. Dowell, I think it looked like he was afraid to shoot at points. A lot of these boys probably know that they're ready to be sold or they want to be gone. And they're just getting some minutes so that they're ready for another club. But we just have to. Some of the boys tried a lot. Jeff, they obviously got caught out a few times, but looked like he came into the game in the second half. I think when you look at Barron, some of the times he was just all over the place, but then actually seemed like he was enjoying the game. Raskin looked like he was everywhere and actually looked like himself. Danilo struggled up top. Wasn't really getting much service though. So I think that when you look at the first and second half, we looked more like a collective unit. We controlled the game a lot more. Yes, Bruges made subs as well, but we controlled it a lot more. We took the game to Bruges, and I think 2 each is a fair result, but it shows the players that are probably going to be here over the players that aren't. A lot of the guys that got shipped off might not see much game time this season, and that's a bit of a worry that they're still going to be here.
Well, just on Leon King, and I think we also have to take into consideration and remember that the managers came out and told us, look, I'm running these boys into the ground. They're going into this game absolutely knackered, right?
Yeah.
Which is what should happen, Willie, right? In pre-season, it absolutely should. But players are all, whether it's a pre-season game or not, Willie, players are going to get judged, right? It's just the way it is at Rangers, right? Leon King has had a bit of a stop-start sort of backup Rangers career, if you like. He's come into the team a few times. He's picked up a few injuries straight away. He got knocked out with a ball, I think, at one point as well, didn't he? Yeah. Didn't have the greatest first half in the world, but again, I want to caveat that, Willie, by saying he's been running to the ground. He's absolutely knackered, and he hasn't played that much first-team football.
Yeah.
But you can also say he didn't have a great first half.
Yeah, look, I don't think too many players come off at half-time thinking they played particularly well in the first half. But yeah, again, that's the difference. And like you're saying that at the game, it's like when you look at the quality they have, Bruges, they can hurt any team. That's why they're in the Champions League. That's why they are a seriously good football team. The pace they move the ball at. See, when you make a mistake against teams like that, you will be punished. Whether that's a midfielder giving the ball away, whether it's a defender misjudging a header or a tackle, whether it's not making the right decision, all of these things will be punished at the top level. Mm-hmm. And that's why, to me, today was a better contest than what we've had in previous years, first up. And I get it, like, so there's a lot of managers in the past who want to build up during pre-season, so you start at the lower level, then you gradually build up. We've probably been like right in there in the deep end and decided to play a team that plays in the Champions League, which is actually quite ballsy, to be honest with you, because let's be honest about it, see, after 12 minutes, there's probably some people in the ground thinking that could have been 5 or 6. Mm-hmm. Because see, when things start to go wrong, it can go wrong really quickly against that level of opposition. So the fact we managed to kind of settle down, we managed to get a wee bit of a foothold. The second half, I think, as the two guys have touched on, we were better in the second half. I think it's fair to say that Diamande made a difference. I thought he was really good in the second half. Yeah, I do fair to Barami, he's took a lot of criticism, Barami. But the set-up for the second goal was brilliant. He could have easily went to ground because he had a couple of kicks as he's running, but stays on his feet. He plays the perfect way a ball to Finlay Curtis, so he doesn't actually need to take a touch. He can just hit it. And that is a good thing. And as the manager says, see, as long as he's happy after a game like that and he can take something from it, that's all that really matters. Yeah. Like, these aren't games that you look back at the end of the season and go, you know what, that was the best game of the season, because it wasn't. But as long as the manager can look back at that and he can think, okay, we need to work on that. And let's be honest about it, there's some guys on that pitch that won't be here come the end of the transfer window. So, and I'm pretty sure that when we go to St George's Park, we will be playing at least one game down there, which will be interesting to see who the opposition is and how good the standard is in that game. Whether we find out about it or not, we'll obviously wait and see.
I know, can you not just do the old FM? Can you not just do the old FM trick where you're in poor form and you play a team in like the 8th league, 8th division, and you spank them like 20-0, and you're all of a sudden your confidence is absolutely through the roof. Alex, what were you trying to jump in there and say, man?
Not shut up, not at all. I was going to say that boy Nedim must be a new signing because he looked a different class in that midfield. I don't think we've ever seen the kind of class he brought in that second half. So hopefully we'll see that going forward in the season, because Bayrami was just completely different today. He actually looks like he's got a bit more physicality, and I think that's what you were saying. Well, he would have gone down last season and tried to get the free kick, but he actually showed a bit more physicality, and it looks good because a lot of the players were doing that. They looked like we were trying to put a weight about a bit, especially Fernandes at the back. He was just all over that striker, and he was all over the attackers when we were trying to get forward. So we look like we're getting a bit more physicality, which we've lacked a lot. A lot of our players don't look like they can blow themselves over, never mind take down another player. So it's good to see that they can actually put it about a wee bit more than we have been.
Yeah, I would absolutely go along with that. Hey, let's hear then, shall we? From the man of the day, the man of the match, young Finlay Curtis obviously spoke to RTV after the game.
Finlay, a first Rangers goal in Ibrox of all places. Just sum up your emotions after that one.
I'm speechless, to be honest. I'm absolutely buzzing. I'm just glad to see it went back in there, and obviously a sloppy start, I thought, and then getting him 2 goals was brilliant. So I'm happy.
Just on your goal, I mean, obviously Nadeem busting through. Did you expect the pass? Did you expect him maybe to go himself? I mean, just talk us through it.
Yeah, I did expect that. So we've been working on that the full week. We've been just trying to hit the players in and then just putting it into the next person and put it to me and put it in the back of the net. So I'm buzzing.
You touched on the game briefly. How did you find the 90 minutes overall against a very good team?
We started off very sloppy. I thought then we in at half time manager had a bit of a go at us, and second half I thought we done very well. So yeah, I'm still speechless, to be honest. I don't know what to say really, but yeah, I'm just happy.
Yeah, was that a moment you've been dreaming of since you were young?
Yeah, been here since 6, so it's obviously we want to do this at Ibrox, and getting that goal is just the best feeling.
And all those years of hard work throughout the academy, well, and all the coaches that you've encountered along the way.
Yeah, I can't thank what a load of the coaches have had, and they've put me in the place I am today. So I just need to keep on working hard and hopefully get many more opportunities.
Yeah, just on the game, you're the only player that lasted the full 90 minutes. I mean, your fitness levels must have been such a good place at this early stage in pre-season.
Yeah, I'd say so. Yeah, I think from last season, I think the main thing was just getting my fitness level up, because I know what the manager wants to bring, just bring that running bit and that energy to the game. So coming in, I just wanted to do my running, get that sorted, and I think I've done that, so I'm happy.
Yeah, you mentioned the manager there. What's he been saying to you specifically? What's his message been?
He's just been telling me just do what you normally do. He's been watching the games beforehand, thought them very well. So just the energy part, I think that's the main thing. He wants us to get people through the season. That's what I think, yeah. So I can't thank him for what he's done for me now.
You obviously broke into the first team last season. I mean, what's your ambitions this season? Is it about consolidating your place in the team?
I think just being a starter, I think just start as many games as I can, and it's obviously horrible in football, push people out of the way, but it's what you need to do. So that's my main thing, just hopefully push players out of the way and do well and start. You've
obviously been around the first team for the last 6 or so months, but obviously today we saw both Sander Hutton and Josh Gentles get on as well from the academy. I mean, that must please you to see that. Yeah, I was pleased for them. They've been working hard in training, they've been doing very well, so they deserve that moment today, and I thought they both done very well. Perfect. Cheers, mate. Thanks, boys. You're welcome.
Do you know what, this comment perfectly encapsulates that, right, from Gary over on Facebook. It's funny when you see these guys after the match and how young they really are. All the best, son. Well, I'm going to come to you first on this, because obviously you've followed the academy a lot longer than me, but in the last maybe 2 and a bit years, we've been going to fairly regularly the academy games. Before Finlay obviously get his shout up to the first team, he was always somebody who stood out. He was always somebody, Willie, who stood out in these games. He was scoring goals, his application, his determination. I could sit here and give him plaudits all day long. But see, towards the end of that interview, Willie, when he said, it doesn't sound very nice, but I'm here to push people out the way, I'm here to be a starter. I love that.
Yeah, look, let's be honest, look, he is living our dream, isn't he? 4 guys that are sitting here talking about Rangers, he's doing what we always wanted to do, which is to pull on that Rangers jersey at Ibrox and be able to play for Rangers. Yeah, look, I was a bit emotional when he scored, to be honest, because you've watched players for so long that, I'm lucky, I've obviously kind of, seen Finlay a lot over the years. You get to talk to him, you get to talk to his family, who are amazing people as well. And you know how hard he's had to work to be given that opportunity. There was
worries, Willie Winter. There was worries over his build and his height for a long time, and then just 1 year he just sprouted.
Yeah, look, I think it's kind of common knowledge now. If you look at some of the podcasts we did, that he was only given an amateur contract at 16. He wasn't given a professional contract because Rangers weren't too sure that it was going to happen for him. But Finlay being Finlay, he just went, well, F you kind of thing, and he went away and worked his backside off, and he then became the top goal scorer at that age group, and he never looked back. He got his pro contract. Now he's got a first team contract. Now he's scored for the first team. He's played for the first team. Do you know what, mate? He deserves everything he gets because he's a great lad. He's worked his backside off. He's had to do everything the hard way a little bit because he was that small. But you know, like today must be so special for him, for his mum, his dad, his brother, and all that. It must just be the most amazing feeling for him, and I'm so glad for him. And see that we interview, that is Finlay. He is quite a quiet guy, isn't he? He's not like, I mean, see, even since he broke into the first team, he's not changed. He's not a different person. He's not became Mr. Ego and thinks he's better than everybody else. I mean, even yesterday he was standing watching the 19s game with all the guys that he's played with. You know, he's still standing there just like he's a normal. You know, obviously he gets a bit of jip, I would imagine, for some of the boys calling him big time and stuff like that. No doubt now that he's in the first team. But look, mate, he's doing what we all want to do. And I genuinely couldn't be happy for him, for Xander Hutton, yet again another great kid from a great family, and Josh Gentles as well. And you know, days like that are special for all. It's only pre-season. That will mean the world to those kids. You know, absolutely amazing.
Yeah, absolutely will. And Mark, fair play to Finlay. He didn't stop the full game. And I think what actually, Mark, impressed me more than anything was a couple of times he tried a couple of through balls. Didn't work, right? Didn't come off for him. But he didn't then revert into his shell. And he didn't try just the easy passes here, the easy passes there. He continued to try the difficult passes. He continued to try to break through. He took the ball and ran with it. He did not stop all day.
Yeah, he's obviously got the confidence. I don't know if you've seen, he done a few step overs and that when he was trying to make up the wing. He done a few step overs to get past some players. Got the ball taken off him, straight back at it again. Pretty much, I think from the start of the game, he built himself into the game. At the start, I was thinking, I'm not sure, but he definitely picked up his game. He kept going. He didn't stop, like you say. He was all over the tackles, all over the pushing forward. So, yeah, I think he had a good game, actually, if I'm honest. And the goal also just finished it off on top.
Can anybody else hear like a whining sound that sounds like something's going, just me, right? Okay, that's fine. As long as it's just me. There's obviously something wrong with me, but that doesn't really matter. Yeah, I mean, yeah, Alex, first half defending poor set, but I think Brugge are a really good team, right? A very, very good team. And in fact, I'll answer this question now, even though it was asked for Willie, but I'll answer it. Martin, question for Willie: are Brugge the same quality as Panathinaikos? No, they're better.
Yeah,
they're much,
I would go as far as to say they are. I mean, we played, I think it was like an under-20 games towards the end of last season. We played against Brugge, and they are, even at that level, they are probably one of the best teams I've ever seen us play at academy level. They were, in fact, I think maybe a few of those guys come on in that second half. I would need to try and find the team sheet from that game, but I'm pretty sure a couple of the guys that played against us at the training ground played in that second half. See, to me, they are a seriously good team. And sometimes you've got to come away from games and take that as part of like the sort of looking back phase. We likely won't play a team as good as that this season if we don't make the Champions League. I'm not so sure we'll come up against a team of that quality in the Europa League or the Conference League, depending on where we end up playing this season. That might actually be as good a team as we play this season. And that will be a good thing for Russell Martin, because he now knows where we need to be if we are going to be a Champions League team in the coming years. That's the level that we need to be at, which is quite a bit away from where we are at the moment.
It is, Alex, but I mean, with everything that Willie's just said there, fair play to the boys for the second half, because I thought for just about the full second half, we were by far the better team.
In the second half, we showed our quality. Obviously, we brought in some players that we know had some quality, but I think they showed a lot more than a lot of us were actually expecting. They showed their quality, their skill, their determination to get back in the game. I mean, some of these boys are coming on. They're coming on thinking, we're 2-0 down. I need to be the catalyst to change this around. You look at a team like Brugge, who were in the last 16 of the Champions League last season, and only got put out by Aston Villa. They're a great outfit, and yet that's who we decided to play in our first pre-season friendly. So as well I said, we've gone right. You know, I
love that, but Alex, I love that we're playing a top team.
So I love it. The fact we could have went, let's play somebody in League One, let's play somebody in League Two, and actually we'll go scud them 5 or 6-0. It'll get the confidence up. We'll look like a great team, but then it doesn't start to show the cracks. Whereas you play somebody against like Bruges and you go, right, this is what didn't work in the first half. And Finlay Cutter said it himself. They got the hairdryer treatment in that at half time. The manager went through them. He said that he gave his thoughts, and they've went out and they've shown what they can do. So I think that it's great we've went and played somebody like that. Yes, we've got Panathinaikos, then we've got Middlesbrough, but we're starting to see in that second half what we can actually play like. And I'm excited if we can play like that going forward this season. I'm excited to see what we can actually do, especially with getting the likes of Thilo in, getting Rothwell in, getting your Lyle Cameron. If we get Connor Cody, if we get Turgeman in, this team could be an absolute monster to play against. And I think this is what we want to see. See if we can see this Rangers team actually kick on under Russell Martin. We're going to be a completely different breed to what we've been the past 3 or 4 years since we actually won 55. Oh, there's the yellow card. There's the card.
Oh, no. We done better against Bruges than we did against TNS. That is absolutely true, by the way. Maybe that will get some people off Russell Martin's back then. But yeah, talking about monsters, Mark, right? Second half, there's the juice as well. On comes Fernandez. That boy, Mark, is enormous.
Yes, did you see him next to Ridvan? Ridvan was exactly what Ridvan, and Ridvan looks, I was like, what's going on? He looks like 2 foot tall. But he is massive, isn't he? He's quite strong in the tackle as well, which is nice to see. He looks like initial thoughts, he looks like he could be decent. I mean, what is he, 6'3", 6'4"?
No, he's about 6'5", I think, is he not? 6'5"?
He's a big old lad. But yeah, I was happy with his 45-minute performance. I think if you look at it from the start of the game, the team that started the first half, there was like 3 or 4 of them that I don't think have got a future here. Definitely. As soon as they came off and the other lads came on, I think we picked up a game, and obviously you've seen it in the second half. We looked a lot more like ourselves into the game. I think we actually controlled most of the second half, if I'm honest. So you can see it was pretty much night and day, first half to second half.
Yeah, it was. But just, Wally, on Fernandez, something I said to Alex during the watch-along was, do you know what? Yeah, his physicality, brilliant. Love it. But a couple of times he's grabbing, he's pulling the shirt, he's giving away silly free kicks. He has to learn for that quickly, Wally, because if he does that in Scotland, before he knows it, there's the first yellow. You give away silly penalties, silly free kicks. But I actually thought the more the half went on, he actually adapted into the game quite well.
Well, I think he's only been here a number of days, isn't he? I mean, the fact he actually came on while Rothwell didn't obviously make the squad. Obviously, we are quite short at centre half, so maybe that's part of the reason for that. But yeah, I was actually laughing because we were watching the Brugge substitutes at half time, and I thought, that big number 19's a big lump. I wonder if he's a centre forward. So when he came out at half time and so did Fernandez, that was quite a good tussle. A couple of times they were at about each other and pushing and shoving. And do you know what? We've not had a centre half with that level of physicality like Fernandez has. Yes, He needs to work on things. I think we could see little parts of the game today that he needs to work on. But he's raw. But I like the fact that he's big, that he's strong, that he's powerful. Because let's be honest about it, we have been bullied for a while now in games. With him, I don't think you're going to see that, to be honest. No. I don't think there's too many guys that's going to bully him. And when you look at the size of, the big lad at Wolves, if they two are playing at centre half, you would like to think you're not going to lose too many headers if those two are in there.
You might even score a wee set piece, Will. You might even score a set piece.
Look, let's not take it too far now. You're kind of stretching the boat here a wee bit. That's not going to happen, But no, look, I think today, from the manager's point of view, he'll be pretty happy with a lot of the players that come on. I think he'll be happy that there was no injuries, which I think is always the biggest thing to come out of this game, because clearly Brugge had a couple of players that picked up knocks in that game, which isn't obviously great when it's a pre-season game. And now it's just on to another solid week of training, and then there's obviously a chance that we will play this game down at St George's Park, which has been rumoured. Because let's be honest about it, as it currently stands, we won't actually play another competitive game in front of a support now until the Panathinaikos game, which isn't really ideal. So that's why I think we will see 1 or 2 behind closed door games happening so that he can have a look at all our players in action. Because it's all fine and well doing it on a training pitch. It's different when somebody's harassing you and they're pressing you and you've got the physicality of an actual game. And I think today we saw that there is still things to be worked on, things to be improved upon. And as Russell Martin's already stated, players are going out and players will be coming in. So clearly, things that are going on right now, whether that's Ben Davies, whether that's Cyril Dessers, whether that's Robin Proper, I think it's pretty clear now that we will start to see guys go out the door because the squad's getting bigger every time we sign somebody. So we really need players to be going the other way as well.
No, we absolutely do. We absolutely do. Alex, just in terms of the game and how Rangers set up and how Rangers went about it, did we get to see a glimpse of Martin ball? Did we get to see any of that?
I think in the second half we did. I think you could see the players playing with a bit more confidence. They were playing with a bit more flair. I think the biggest thing we saw from Martin ball was the fact that we finally seemed to have scrapped this formation of the 4-2-3-1. We actually played a 4-3-3 for a change, and it seemed like in the second half it worked. So I think if we can start seeing how this is going to work, I think it'll be good, because some of the passes and some of the movement that the players were trying, spoke about it during the watch along to yourself, Martin. A lot of times in the first half, we were waiting for players to make the move before we'd hit the pass. But you saw it in the second half. Finlay Curtis was the first to try it. He tried to put a ball in for Ross McCausland before he was even in the box. He tried to spread it across the box. It's just the thought of, can I get it in for him? We've not seen that enough last season. We've started to see glimpses of it in this pre-season. Yes, it's only the first game against a good opposition, but I think as it's going to start moving on before we get to Panathinaikos, I think if we get more players in and players up to fitness, up to speed, it's going to come very, very quickly. We start to see Russell Martin's philosophy of how he wants to play this football.
Does that go in, Alex, to what Russell Martin said in his post-match about the players overthinking in the first half then?
100%. I think there was a lot of that. I think you're obviously, the crowd's there. See if you're doing it in a training, as well I said, see if you're doing it in a training pitch where it's your teammates, they're not going to put a tackle in on you. They're not going to put like a cruncher on you where they want to win the ball back. It's just about being there. I think being with the crowd and then you're actually against a professional opposition, there's obviously nerves there, and there's people not wanting to put a foot out of place and make an arse of themselves. Whereas in the second half, they've obviously been told what's expected of them in the dressing room by Russell Martin, and they've come out and they've showed that they can do it. I mean, it was only 6 minutes, and Dio's got the goal, so they've obviously taken that on board. They've come and got the goal, and they've run at Bruges. So I think that we need to just wait and see how we can get moving forward. But I said it during the game, you're probably talking 6 or 7 of those players that started that game probably either won't feature for the club or will be used sporadically as a sub. So I think there's a lot of players there that we won't see much of, and they'll be gone. You could even see that as a final farewell for them. You know, this was the last game you're going to have at Ibrox. Yes, it's a pre-season friendly, but thanks very much for your service, and we'll see you later on.
I think that might be the case for a certain few, absolutely. Jack Roberts, massive super chat. Thank you very much, Jack. In the Loudon, so can't hear a thing, but take that result. So there we go. So there's not really any point in me talking back to you, Jack, is there, if you're in the Loudon and you can't really hear anything? But I absolutely, we 100% do take that result. Mark, did you see enough individual play, patterns of play, pressing done right? Did you see enough that you go, I'm happy with what I've seen and things can only get better?
In the first half, I think I've seen a bit of pressing in packs, if you know what I mean. So they were pressing in packs, closing down. When they lost the ball, they closed down in groups. There was little patterns of play that I liked. Second half, it was like a Jekyll and Hyde performance. It picked up massively in the second half. There's quite a few bits from it that I take that I'm excited about, happy with. Move on to the next one and see where it takes us. But I definitely saw enough in that second 45 that I'm happy-ish with how it went.
Happy-ish.
Yeah, happy. I don't get too excited. It's a pre-season friendly, so, but I'm happy.
Happy-ish is better than miserable, I suppose. Wally, you were at the game, you were in the stadium. there's been a few people chatting about booing at half-time. I don't know if you heard it at the stadium. What's that all about?
I think there's a bit of a kind of run over from last season in terms of the frustration, in terms of some of the performances. I thought the one thing that was noticeable, just to pick up on your last point, was that we were trying to stop Bruges playing out from the back. So I don't know if you noticed, like the two wingers were coming right in the pitch, and then like the main centre forward player, that was Danilo or Josh Gentles, they were dropping in. So like they're kind of holding midfield play. We were trying to stop the passing out to the centre backs, the full backs, and the number 6. We were trying to force them to kick the ball long, which means that we get the ball back. So it'll be interesting to see if we keep doing that throughout, because if you're going to do that, and if teams try to play out from the back, you're going to win the ball higher up the pitch a lot more, which I think is obviously part of the plan for Russell Martin. But it'll be interesting to see if we stick with that in the league as much as anything else. In terms of the booing, yeah, there was a little bit at half-time, but I wouldn't say it was much, to be honest. But see, at the end of the day,
should there have been any booing, Wally?
I've always been quite a strong advocate of, if you pay your money to come to the game, you can say what you want, you can boo, you can cheer, you can do what you want. That's just how it is. I've never been one for booing the team. It's just not really been my thing, to be honest. Have I been frustrated with them? Yes. Have I been angry with them? Yes. I mean, at times over the last few years, you sort of want to say a lot more, but see, at the end of the day, look, the players will know themselves when they don't do enough. The players will know when they've made a mistake. It's not like me sitting in the crowd telling them that their crap is going to help them. But I get the fact that other people round about you'll have a different sense of, shouting at players, giving them abuse, booing them, whatever. And that's the nature of the game, isn't it? Look, I paid my £19 today to turn up and watch the game. Sure, there's a lot of people that didn't, that would have sat and watched it in the house or whatever. And that's fine. But I do think if you pay your money, you come to the game, you've got the right to boo if you want to boo. You can complain if you want to complain. I mean, I was quite relaxed. I was just enjoying the game. And I enjoy when we play teams like that. I think when we have genuine quality teams coming to Ibrox to play against us, I really enjoy it. I enjoy watching the opposition. I enjoy watching how they play, because I think that tells us a lot about where we are and where we need to be. And I think today showed that. But yeah, there was a lot of positives in that second half. 2 really good finishes. We created far more opportunities. I thought our pressing was a lot better in the second half as well. And as I say, I thought Tav looked really comfortable at centre half as well. So it'll be interesting to see if that's where we see more of James Tavernier this season.
Booing in the first pre-season friendly of the season, though, Alex. I take on board everything William said, and of course you're entitled to do whatever you want to do, right? But as Spinning Bird Flip says, Alex, having the right to do something doesn't mean you're not an arsehole if you do it. Now, I'm not saying the supporters have done it were arseholes. I'm just saying in general, first game of pre-season, new manager, some new players in there. He's trying to get across some new ideas. There'll be a few of the players who know they're leaving. Yeah. Should we really, Alex, be booing in the first pre-season game of the season?
I don't think we should be. I think there's a bit of naivety if you thought that we were going to absolutely turn over Club Brugge in this game today. They're a top quality opposition. They were going to come and score goals. If you think that we were going to win this game 5-6-0, you've paid to go to the wrong game, in all honesty, because it was never going to happen. It was going to be a competitive game, regardless if it's a pre-season or not. Bruges were going to come to prove a point. For them, it's their pre-season as well. They need to...
What is he doing?
I don't know what he's doing there. You've got to show that...
I was being accused of being naked from my crop top down, so I was just proving that I wasn't.
See, but nobody really needs to see that or know that you're or no. I mean, that's just... That was just far too much. I mean, that's why people will stop subscribing after stuff like that, man.
That's why I wear all black, so that I blend into my surroundings and nobody sees how fat I am.
Ay, Jesus.
Sorry, Alex, carry on.
Let's just finish up and get him now.
I know I'm away as well. I will let Martin finish up himself, right? He can wrap up for you. No, I just think that the booing's obviously because of the performance the players put out in the first half, but Bruges were a quality side. when you look at the players they put out in that first half, that was their starting 11 that they played most of last season with. That boy Vanaken in the middle was unbelievable for them. I think he was their player of the season last year, and obviously plays alongside Nico Raskin in the Belgium squad. Showed he's got quality. They had the quality. I mean, that second goal, you could put two goalkeepers in the goal. We weren't stopping that one. That was an unbelievable strike from their attacker.
Yeah, it was.
There's a bit of fault on the defenders, and there's a bit of fault on Kelly for the fact that he could have done better. But to boo it, I think you're just getting a bit ahead of yourself. See, if we're talking halfway into the season, if that's December, January time, and we're sitting further down the table, we're not doing well, boo away, because then we've got a reason to do it. Russell's only just been in the door. It's his first time getting out of Ibrox and showing what he's about. To boo it, I think you're just a bit naive to think that we're going to do anything to walk away with a great result from that. Two each is a fantastic result against a bruised team, and I think that you're just a bit, you're being a bit ahead of yourself to boo the now.
Yeah, I agree. And I'm just about to do the outro, right? And we're on 87 likes on YouTube. By the time I'm finished it, can we get to 100?
Right, get up and get you up to 100. Get up and do a spin.
I can do a handstand if you want. I just need three or four people. I just need
no.
3 or 4 people in to hold me up.
Please no. I mean, please no. Look, yeah, right. This is a great thing, right? Get us to 100 likes right now so we can end the podcast. So Martin Disney have to do the handstand.
You know what I find deeply sad about that? Sorry, Alex, but you know what I find deeply sad about that? As soon as Willie said that, we got 100 likes.
Right, so that's it. The podcast is over, guys. Thank you very much for tuning in. Cheers.
I will say one thing that was quite evident in that game, and Willie, you were at the game, you'll see it yourself, but Danilo's not the main man for us going forward, being in that striker position. He struggled so much in terms of being able to hold the ball up. There's a few times in the first half when he was almost one-on-one with a defender and then the goalie, and he still couldn't get the power to get away. He wasn't really having the opportunity to get a shot. I think he's probably going to be a backup. And I said it during the watch-along. For me, Danilo looks like the type of player that wants to be the 10, the person that's linking up the play, rather than being the number 9. And that's not what he's been brought in to be. He's been brought in to be a striker and a goal scorer. And it just looks like we're going to struggle if we don't get another striker in, especially with the fact that Dessers looks like he's staying just now, unless we get another bid for him. Igaman needs to start out visas, but if you lose those two, we're going to struggle in the striker department until we get another player in.
Yeah, look, it wasn't great for Danilo.
Sorry, Wally, on you go.
No, I was just going to say, look, it wasn't great for Danilo. I don't think anybody could say otherwise. There's no doubt he works hard. You know, he does do a lot of running, but no, you need your number 9 to be the focal point. You need your number 9 to hold the ball up. You need him to link the play. You need him to bring the wingers into play. And yeah, that doesn't really seem like Danilo's strong point. I think, again, if Rangers got an offer for Danilo in this window that's probably even less than what we paid for him, we'll probably take the money and move, because I just don't see him fitting into how Russell Martin's going to play. Obviously, today we didn't have anybody else who could really play that role. It's tough. I think, as the guys have touched on, everybody so far, that I think it's fair to say that a good amount of players who played today might not necessarily be here at the end of this transfer window.
I do agree with that, right? But Mark, I have to ask, is what Willie and Alex are saying about Danilo, is that fair? Considering that he barely played last season, even when he was fit enough to come back into the team and start training again, Barry never really picked him, right? Mark, Barry never picked him. It's the first game of pre-season. He's clearly nowhere near match fit or whatever it is that he needs to be up to scratch. We've seen the training videos with him lying on the deck. He's absolutely cream crackered, right? He's probably never had a pre-season like this before. Is it fair to put all that judgment on Danilo just now and how early it is in pre-season?
Yes, I would say. How long has he been here? 3 seasons? 4 seasons? 3 seasons?
2.5, 3, yeah.
3 seasons. He's never really tore it up. We spent $6 million on the guy. He's been injured for a lot of the time. I can't see, if we keep him as the starting striker, we're not going to do nothing this year. I think we need to cut our losses and sell the guy. and getting a few of the targets we've been looking at. I cannot see Danilo being the man that's going to lead us to lifting any trophies this year, definitely not. I think he's had his chance. Injuries have played a part, but you can't just keep players on over sentiment. It's time to move them on and get somebody else in my opinion.
Well, in terms of along those same discussion lines then, Alex, I don't know what's wrong with the Alchemist, right? There's something seriously wrong with the boy. I can't find the comment now. Where was it? That's annoying. There we go. Ross Clark. Same situation, Alex, as Cortez, but he had a decent game. Did he?
I don't think Cortez had a decent game, in all honesty. There was a few times that he had the option to link up play to give the service to Danilo, and he picked the wrong pass time and time again. He showed that he's got the work rate, and it was good to see him get as many minutes as he did because he was up and down. He showed a bit of physicality and a bit of strength, but he just didn't look like he was comfortable. I think that's probably the best word to use for Cortez. Didn't look like he was comfortable with the ball at his feet. Didn't look like he had any sort of connection with Jeffy down that left-hand side. They looked like they were two opposite players that have never played each other, didn't know who each other were because they couldn't link up to save themselves. And I just think that Cortez is another man that we probably have wasted $4.5 million on. You've probably got to say for both of them, if they don't leave this summer, then they're going to have to get game time to show they're worth that. But if we bring in better players, is it going to be another season where they're on the bench? Now, Russell Martin obviously wanted to show what talent they've got, but they didn't really show it today, and they didn't really do him any favours. When you're talking about Danilo looking like a bus balloon on the ground when he's absolutely done, you've got to say that Russell Martin said they were all going to be knackered. All the fitnesses were going to be challenged because he's ran them into the ground in training and then said, right, go play a pre-season against Bruges. So maybe we are being a bit harsh on Danilo, but he's just not shown it over the seasons he's been here. He shows flashes that he's a good player, and then he's injured for 3-4 months, comes back, gets in a game or two, then he's injured. It just doesn't look like it's ever really going to work out for him, and it's a bit of a shame because it looks like there was a player in there when we first got Danilo and Cortez. Injuries will do that to a player, though. They will hamper them, and it looks like they've done it to the pair of the guys. And it's just a shame because they could have been quality. They could have kicked on at Rangers, but they might need to be sold so that we can get other quality players in, and then they're taking up a wage bill.
Well, the way I look at it is, if Thelwell and Purdy were in, would they have looked at either a Danilo or a Cortez and bring them to the football club? Before, obviously, they were anywhere near us, would they be looked at as players to bring in? I don't think so. Especially Cortez, I really don't think so. I don't know what this means. Can he wash your feet like a king in penance M? Can anybody deconstruct that from hieroglyphics? Or, I mean, Alchemist, thank you very much for the super chat. I really, really appreciate it. Thank you for the support. But I don't know what that means. Anybody help me out? Wally, you like Egyptian history?
I do like a wee bit of Egyptian history, but I don't think that's anything to do with Egyptian history, to be honest.
I don't know what it means.
I think possibly what he's trying to say is that, look, I mean, he never got a lot of quality into him today. I think we can honestly say that. He didn't get a lot of real, quality play from the wide players. We probably didn't really give him any chances. I think the problem Danilo's got, and I'm not necessarily just basing it off today, I just think that, whether people like it or not, we are better with Dessers or with Hamza up there. And I think we've seen that enough to know now that if we are going to play with a main focal point of one striker with the two wingers, then Danilo would need to probably do a lot more than what he currently is doing and what he has done at Rangers before. So yeah, of course, I mean, if the manager likes him and he's going to give him an opportunity and he does well, then great. I just think it's hard to see him being the main nine. And because of the fee we paid for him, the other argument is he's not shown enough to suggest that we should have paid that level of money for him. And that when you pay that level of money, you expect him to be your starting nine. And he's not shown that, I don't think. And I think that's why this summer, if an opportunity arises and Rangers can maybe get him out on loan with an obligation to buy or sell him or whatever, I think they will take that chance, especially given it seems clear now that we are looking to bring in another striker, because it does feel like either Dessers or Hamza will go at some point. So, only time's going to tell on these things. We're just judging it off a little bit of today's game. But in terms of Danilo, this is a lot longer than just today's pre-season game.
Well, apparently, and sorry to just kind of talk right over what you've said there, Willie, because you're spot on. Apparently, it means you can't wash your feet while you're kneeling.
There you go.
Is that true though? Like, I'm trying to think. If I kneeled down, I could wash my feet while I was kneeling down.
It would be pretty difficult, to be honest. I mean, I think it'd be pretty difficult, you know.
I mean, maybe not now since I've put on all the weight, but when I was a bit thinner, I probably could have done it. Probably, to be fair. Plus, Wally, I'm quite low to the ground, as you know. So that probably helps as well, the fact I'm very, very small. Bajrami, Dio, Raskin, Cortez, Curtis, Fernandez get pass marks, but nothing outstanding. Massive super chat there from Charles. Thank you very much, Charles. I'd probably go along with that, Mark. The main question is, Mark, were we expecting anything outstanding today?
I wasn't. Well, maybe some people were, but I wasn't expecting it to be night and day from last season. He said, what Martin said, a couple of weeks to work with some players. Some players were away on international duty. Other players have come in. So how much can you realistically get into players in 2 weeks? Doesn't matter what I would take out of it. So I wasn't expecting to see anything swashbuckling football, complete article after one pre-season game. Were
you surprised, Mark, by the performance of Bayrami when he came on? Do you know the only difference I see, Mark, right, in that performance from Bayrami was he was trying. And that's something that's been levelled against him for a long time now. Even when he's been going back to Albania, that he's just not been trying. It looked like he was right up for it today.
Well, last season it seemed like he had a lack of application, interest. But today, I don't know, he came on a bit between his teeth. He was right in amongst it. Looked like a totally different player from last season. So if that's a mark of him going forward, then we've got a decent player. Hopefully he keeps it up. Yeah.
100%. Right, that will do us for today. I'm glad the reactions are back. They really are my favourite show. So I do hope Rangers announce a couple more pre-season fixtures so that we can get the build-ups, the watch-alongs and the reactions off the ground again. Thank you so much for all the support, all the super chats, all the likes. We're well over 100 likes now on YouTube, so thank you very much for that. Keep liking and sharing as well on Facebook and Twitter or X or whatever you call it. Alex, Willie, Mark, thank you very much for joining me today, for taking time out of your day to come on and do this. I really appreciate it as well. We are back tomorrow morning for members at 10 a.m. for the members phone in. You can have your say on today's game, and then of course 12:30 for your afternoon rabble, and then 7:30 for your Monday night rabble. So all busy tomorrow. So thank you for the support, folks. Willie, Mark, Alex, thank you very much, and we shall speak. Oh, by the way, before I go, whoa, everybody, stop. Brian done a superb interview with Charlie from a Wigan podcast today that is now available on the channel. If you haven't seen it, go and check it out. It will be uploaded to audio very, very soon, along with obviously this show. So go and check that out, folks. Have a great day, and we'll speak very, very soon.